right, Evan Ginsberg with another edition of Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV, wishing everybody a happy, healthy, prosperous, creative new year. And I am joined by poet Yassine Moudassa and wrestler John Winnell. No, I'm kidding, folks.
I wish I could
That's
write.
right. We have bodybuilder and wrestler Yassine returning to the show, and of course my co-host John Winnell. John, show me your shirt. Let's get off to a. Speaking of creative,
I want to see this.
I'll stand up and show off who no one even knows anymore. It's my homage to Thelonious Monk,
there you go.
the great jazz piano player, composer, who, if any of you ever get the opportunity, give a shout out. And he wrote Round Midnight, and I guess that's the great standard.
Round Midnight is haunting. I could hear it in my head as we speak.
Yeah, amongst, for me, he's the greatest. He was misunderstood because he just played, he broke it down to the most simple notes that he could throw in, kind of like what Basie did, but I think even, more sophisticated, if that's possible.
And speaking of misunderstood, we just saw the Nina Simone documentary. Tremendous.
Another great singer. She also, like Monk, was trained at Juilliard. Nina Simone's story is maybe a little more tragic, more self-inflicted tragedy than Monk, but because of the political stuff. But a great singer, a great artist, Nina Simone.
And my question today, speaking of great artists, do wrestlers and poets have similar New Year's resolutions? What's your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution is just stay disciplined as much as possible, and that's something I've learned from just my life experiences and what wrestling and college and now me getting into business has taught me, and because you got to have a discipline addiction. The more disciplined people are the ones that end up being more successful in life, from what I've seen. And if you have a goal in your head and you stay level-headed and you don't let anyone bother you and you keep focusing on that goal and moving towards it, one day a time comes where you end up achieving that goal.
And your goal in pro wrestling, I assume, is to get to WWE?
Yes. I mean, I'm also a big fan of other promotions like Ring of Honor, which are more wrestling based.
New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom.
New Japan Wrestling.
The Wrestle Kingdom pay-per-view is as good as anything you'll ever see.
Yes. So I'm not a big fan of the drama part or the show part. I'm more of a fan of the actual wrestling because I've been a collegiate wrestler my whole life, wrestled in the
So you're the real deal, like Kurt Angle.
Yes.
You did college wrestling.
College, yes.
Like John Irving and Tommy Mars.
Tommy Mars, director.
Yep.
Director.
See, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's
Tommy Mars showing us his cauliflower ears off camera.
Oh my God! Yes.
Well, that was an Olympic. Wasn't that an Olympic sport, wrestling, until
Yeah.
recently? I don't know if it still is. Is it?
I think they might bring it back. They might.
Roller derby is now an Olympic sport.
Is that right?
No.
And it's sad. It was one
That
of
I
the
would
original
think,
ones. Wrestling was one of the original Olympic sports. With boxing.
Wrestling was the original everything. Cavemen were wrestling millions of years ago.
Millions of years ago.
That's right.
So it's very sad.
There's hieroglyphics on cave walls with guys wrestling, for real.
It completely kills the motivation for the kids in schools now because, first of all, there really isn't a professional league for collegiate match-style wrestling. The only thing you can do after college is maybe go towards the Olympics or wrestle on the world team. If you're going to take that out, the kids are not even going to be motivated to, get better and become more successful in it because there's no future and there's no career. You really can't make a career like other sports. So it's very sad.
I'm very interested in your idea of discipline because obviously, you're heavily muscled. It didn't come by accident.
No,
You've spent countless hours in the gym. Let me tell you about my day the other day.
Yes.
I went to the gym for an hour. Then I went to the Tai Chi class, which is usually an hour 15, but the instructor was gracious enough to invite me to the more advanced class.
Okay.
So I did an hour in the gym and then 2.5 hours of Tai Chi, went home half dead. Okay. So then the next morning, my discipline with every muscle in my body aching was minimal, and I did virtually nothing. So my discipline comes in spurts. How do you, do this every day?
It builds up with time. Your body adapts to it. So if you're not used to working out every single day, you're only used to doing it maybe once a week or once every other week. Your body's not going to be used to it, and it's going to be sore.
I put in 3.5 hours.
I know, but
Yeah.
that's if you don't do any one day and the next day you put in that much, of course you're going to be
Sure.
It's a slow building up process. There's no stopping. You can go as high as possible, but it's a slow building process. It doesn't come right away because your muscle recovery is what's the key. And if you don't rest your muscles, and if you overtrain them, your body's going to be really tired. It's going to go in shutdown mode where it won't want to do anything. But if you keep the right amount, where you train each muscle once a week, say like in bodybuilding, they train each muscle once a week and they rest it the other 6 days. That same muscle, they feed it, they sleep good, and they train each different body part every day, so they rest it and let it grow. Say if you do curls every single day, they're only going to get so big because they at a point they'll stop growing because you're overtraining them.
What about mind over body? Let's say you have an issue, a family issue, you break up with a girlfriend, you're feeling down, and you just don't feel like going to the gym that day. How do you overcome that?
For me, it's become a safe haven and a stress reliever because it's a place where I go and no one bothers me. I put in my music and I just get in my zone, and it's the best stress reliever that I found out over the years. Because I'm not a drinker, I'm not a smoker, I'm not a big party guy. I just like being left alone for a little bit and just do my own thing, what I want to do. And the gym has been the best thing for me. It's my favorite thing, and it's my 2 hours during the day where no one bothers me. I focus on my body, and I relieve all my stress. When I walk out of the gym, I am so tired to a point where I just take a shower and fall asleep.
Right.
And all my stress and all my madness or whatever I'm going through has come off.
That's great. So I'll pose the same question to John the poet. You wrote an entire book of poetry and much, much more. When you're down, when things aren't going your way, I mean, how do you force yourself to sit down and write?
Well, again, sometimes I give an example where I was really down. I really had a really rough day. It was a couple of weeks ago, and I was exhausted, and I just didn't think I could do anything. And I like dozed off for a little bit, and I got up, forcing myself to say, no, I'm not going to let this get the better of me. I sat down and I wrote, and I worked on a piece. So it comes from the same philosophy, from discipline, just habit of just going at a certain time and sitting down and knowing that this is what you have to do.
So whatever your goal is, you need the discipline to pursue it.
You develop the love and the passion for it, where the normal day stresses of life don't bother you. There comes a point where you're so focused that you can be at the lowest point in your life and still be motivated enough to do what you love, what you want to do.
And this is taking it a step further. What if you have multiple interests? The other night, for example, I did Tai Chi, I meditated, I worked out, I studied Korean. My wife is Korean.
Yes.
Okay, now that's not going to happen every day. That's a lot.
That's a night.
So how do you pursue all your goals? People have multiple interests. I mean,
well, I think you have to, if you're serious about them, you devote certain amount of time for each. I don't think
each and every day, or
well, I think whatever.
Depends what it is.
It depends exactly. I mean, the language. It depends on how sophisticated you want to get in the language development, and then it takes time. You have to give yourself time. All of those things. It takes time to build. So
I mean, we're doing 2 TV shows today. Then I have to take care of my elderly mom. I can pretty much guarantee that I will not be going to the gym and doing Tai Chi and studying and meditating. It's a lot in one day, as much as I want to.
You shouldn't do all that in one day. I mean, that's what That's what time is allotted for.
Right.
So you space out, so you leave time to get to places, time to be at places, where you're not rushing yourself, where you can actually enjoy that time doing what it is
Right.
that you're doing.
Rather than it being a heavy responsibility.
That's right, and a
Goals do-
resentment.
Goals do change with responsibilities. You know, life moves on, but at least you know whatever the time was, you don't regret it. At least you went for it. You said maybe it wasn't meant to be, but at least I tried.
Sure.
But if you never did, then you always say, "Man, I should have done." You know, man, maybe I should have tried. You know, you always have that regret.
They say that 85% of New Year's resolutions are broken.
I'm broken already.
Already, it's January
been one day.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not realistic.
They're
I mean,
not
you have to be realistic about what you want. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with everything that you said, but you have to build up to it. If you all of a sudden just say, "Oh, I'm going to do everything," then at once, then you're going to get sick of it, and you can say, "No, it's too much." But there's nothing wrong with
You
doing a
gotta
little
focus
bit.
on the realistic first.
Always.
And then comes the love and the passion after. You can bodybuild your whole. I mean, you need a job to make a living. Yes, that should be your number
Sure.
one goal. Second, say if you have an interest of writing, you have an interest of bodybuilding or wrestling, you can still continue your love. Maybe not the way you want to, but you still can do your passion on the side whenever you get the time. But your job will be first. Whatever
unless
your
you're lucky
responsibilities
You always
are.
have to prioritize.
Prioritize.
If you have a newborn baby, that becomes the
That
responsibility.
becomes the responsibility.
Sure.
But with time, with age, with
Sure.
children, with, like you said, you have your elderly mom. That's more important than going to the gym. Being there for her is, for you or for me, would be more important than doing what I want because she needs me at that time.
Now, I see elderly people at the Tai Chi classes in their 80s, so exercise is something that could be lifelong also.
Well, of course, I mean,
Yes,
the
you
body
know.
is, I think any, for me, writing is a vocation. I mean, and I could, take it and basically use it to write and anything, and hopefully it'll become more. I mean, that's not the whole purpose behind it. I mean, if you're very lucky, but anything, you develop your whole life. If you, for example, you play music, these guys are playing music until, Count Basie, they used to wheel him on in a wheelchair to sit down.
Sonny
with the
Rollins
piano.
is in his 80s. He practices 2 hours a day, the
Oh, but you
world's
have
greatest
to.
jazz saxophonist.
And there are writers, they wrote, they're in their 90s, they're still writing. Painters, Ellsworth Kelly, I think he just died, who's a famous
It tells
painter.
you the work
He's
ethic and the
92.
discipline. He's
Yeah.
already achieved, a lot greater than what he
He's
was.
still
Yeah,
trying
he's
to be better.
He's still trying to better himself,
Yeah.
But if-
until the day he, passes. He's not going to stop.
But if this is who you are, I
That's
mean,
who- yeah,
why
that's
would
exactly
why
who he
would
is.
why would you not do these things?
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
it's your passion, it's your love, and it has gotten respect all over the world for what he's done, and he's going to stick to it until
Oh, yeah.
until he passes.
well, you also
because-
have to do things that give you that give meaning to your life. You can't just just do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I mean, if you're serious about something, you have to stick with it, or else it has no meaning.
We've been doing this show almost 4 years. Yes.
Here's an example, right?
Been doing radio 25 years.
Yeah, that's right. So this way you get better and you're comfortable, and it provides a service. It's an entertainment. People are coming on. They're talking about their thing. They're performing. So it just spreads the wealth. I think.
You'll appreciate this. Later today on Heartbeat Radio with Bruce Hart, I'm interviewing Bob Backlund.
Wow.
Yeah, that's as big as it gets, right?
That's as big as
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah. I'm excited about that because I saw Backlund basically every month his whole reign at the Garden and the Coliseum. So
I wish it gets like that again, because right now professional wrestling as a whole is not doing as great as it once did, and they're trying to, for example, like we were talking earlier before, like UFC is taking a lot of the UFC fans, which is out of the WWE fans.
But when all is said and done, I think boxing fans still stay boxing fans, and wrestling fans will always be wrestling fans. And I don't see UFC really sucking
No.
away the audience. Do you?
It's it's
Maybe a small
boxing
portion.
is boxing, and people know it. So, wrestling, it's a little different because there's a lot of entertainment that's involved. And if you have parents telling their children now that is just fake, don't watch that, it's gonna shift over.
I've been a boxing and wrestling fan 40 years, and I still enjoy UFC. I'm not like, oh, that wrestling's phony. I
Yeah.
still enjoy. I love wrestling.
I mean, it's true, but there's it didn't used to be. People now at the show, they can. It's becoming very. People can starting to learn and tell what's going to happen before, which is not good. That's the problem, And we're watching a UFC event. You don't know when the guy's going to be knocked out.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to.
They don't know.
The wrestling is starting to become very predictable. They have to maybe hire different writers or add different things to the show where it's not so predictable, where people don't know what's going to happen next. Because there's a lot of people out there who will tell you what's going to happen right before it happens.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes it unpredictable. That's the problem. That's the problem with
My buddy Manny Yarborough was with the early UFC, 700-pound black sumo. Went to Japan to be a sumo. I used to bring him up to the radio show at WBAI-FM. He just passed 700 pounds. So it's almost like reverse training. They're feeding themselves so much.
That's unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's unhealthy.
Yeah, he passed in his early 50s.
Was he successful in Japan as a sumo?
Yeah, very. And he did a lot of commercials and TV. He was a 700-pound sumo.
Well, that's a little unhealthy.
Oh, I would say
Because
so,
working out
yeah.
and bodybuilding tells you to keep your body in great shape, which stays with you until, after you don't want to do it at that level, but you're still going to be...
How do you move?
Exactly.
He used to hold the wall almost for balance. He was so, and a lot of chairs wouldn't hold his weight.
700 pounds, come on.
Yeah,
That's
Sit
so-
on a stone block.
But always a big smile, always happy. I was very sad when I saw him
Well,
pass.
of course, it's
And we used to spend a lot, just like this. We would
Yeah.
bring him on the radio and talk, and just
Quality of life is more important than sometimes being that big. I'd say, because if you have to hold a wall to walk straight, that's not that's getting a little unhealthy there.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a tough question. A buddy of mine's a personal trainer.
Okay.
I have several friends who are personal trainers. And he's old school. He's just like salad and healthy food, and he does not believe in any supplements. I'm not talking steroids, I'm talking supplements. He feels that there's too many chemicals, and
Well, they're
what's
not
your take on
regulated
that?
supplements.
Supplement is called a supplement for a reason. It's a supplement to real food. In our everyday lives, we're very busy, and not everyone has the time to prepare 4 to 5 healthy meals for them every single day. That's where the supplements come in. And if you're a person who works 10 to 12 hour shifts every day, and you get a little lazy where you can't get good healthy food, you depend on the supplements because it gets you the right nutrients. But yes, it is. There are chemicals involved, but you are getting the right nutrients, and you know exactly what's going into your body. But if you're say a professional bodybuilder, and your job is just to eat and lift and get bigger and bigger and bigger, you have the time to cook and clean because you are sponsored, where you don't have to be working a full-time job to make a living. That's the trainers and the professional bodybuilders will tell you to eat natural and real food. That's the best thing for you. There's no chemicals. It's all natural, and it's not going to hurt your body in the future. But if you're going to put chemicals into your body, yeah, you are playing with fire. If you're depending on them, if you're just drinking protein shakes and you've stopped eating real food, that's not good.
Right.
Well, it has to be a balance where you drink it at a time, or you take that supplement at a time where you're not natural food isn't available.
Okay. And John, tell us quickly about your book before we go to commercial break.
Okay, yeah, poems for everyday people, like it says on the desk, and I think it's 59 or 60 poems that basically have an urban theme, and if you like them, I'm going to read something from the series, and then some newer and older ones as well. You can contact me, JONWINELL, at Facebook or at yahoo.com, and there aren't a lot left, and it's been out for 2 years.
And it's Jon instead of JOHN because JON is cooler. Yeah. So, Yassine, plug any social media, websites?
I'm just gonna say, I wish I could write one day. I am so scared of writing.
Really?
English was a very weak subject for me, so recently I've actually been into reading which I'm starting to develop my mind a little
So
more.
what are you reading?
I never used to pay attention to just, I hated even reading little paragraphs. Like I'm actually starting to like actually grab a newspaper and start reading some articles or watching the news and paying a little more attention, where my mind is starting to develop in a different way, which I like it. It's it's maturing. But up until last year, until I was in college, I couldn't hold up a book. I couldn't open a newspaper. It wasn't my interest. But recently, I guess with age, my mind is starting to,
And
interest and grow.
because you're a big guy, I think people assume you're older than you are. Tell the audience how old you are.
I'm 24.
24.
I get a
Young
lot.
guy, yeah.
I get an easy 28, 29, 30.
Yeah, because you're big. People assume you're older.
Yeah, it's the develop
Yeah.
body. I have, beard going, so
Right.
I fit in an older person, but, 24. Social media, my Facebook is Yassine Madasser, and my Instagram is Yassine Hulk Madasser. Hulk from, lifting. So, and I have a professional wrestling show coming up January 30th. That my first one-on-one match is going to be an NYWC Sports Touring here in Deer Park. You guys could look up NYWC Sports
Who are
Touring.
you wrestling?
We're not sure yet. We're trying to figure out.
We should bring your opponent on, do like a contract signing, like old school. Yeah, build it up.
Yes, we
Yeah.
should. We should. It's because I'm a little new to the professional wrestling business, and I take it. Still take it kind of more in the real way. So a lot of these guys are very, very scared to step up and wrestle because I'm a real, I'm a shoot wrestler. So
You're more stiff than a lot of the other guys.
because
Yeah.
it takes time,
Sure,
it takes time to loosen up. Because if you've done something for 8 years and all of a sudden you switch it up and make it, a complete different opposite, because it's a big difference from going from shoot wrestling when you're low and in to professional wrestling where you're big up top and loose.
Right.
It's a big difference.
The old school guys, the legends, would always tell me how proud they were of wrestling light. And I know guys that wrestled 30, 40 years, never hurt anybody.
Never
like
hurt.
Johnny Valiant,
Yeah.
never hurt anybody.
Never heard word.
And very
There's
proud
no
of
need
that.
to. There's no
Yeah.
need to. There's guys who like stiffen you for no reason. But if you because you're putting on a show, you don't need to hurt somebody.
Right.
The next time the guy wouldn't want to work with you.
Yeah.
You won't get called for the next show because say if their best wrestler doesn't want to work with you anymore, they're not going to call you because you're hurting them.
Right, of course.
They're not going to get called.
Of
So
course.
you got to be very careful with who you're trying to hurt, because in the near future that can hurt you with a business.
Absolutely. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk more pro wrestling, more bodybuilding, poetry, and we're going to show some videos as well. So, more of Legends TV after this very brief timeout. Don't you dare go anywhere.
Galaxy Luxury Coach is a full-service limousine and party bus company. Family-owned and operated, we are an industry leader with over 25 years of experience in providing best-in-class luxury transportation for your special event. Whether it's your precious wedding day, an all-day wine tour out east, your high school prom, that special birthday, or just an amazing night on the town, our professional chauffeurs stand ready to ensure your special event is truly special. Galaxy Luxury Coach has one of the largest and modern party bus fleets in the New York area. Our party buses are simply nightclubs on wheels. Concert sound systems, light shows, lasers and strobes, multicolor LED lighting brilliantly lights your party bus inside and out. For corporate and more laid-back events, we will cater to your specific needs and requests. What sets Galaxy aside from all others in the luxury transportation industry is our attention to detail in customizing our services to your special event. At Galaxy, it's all about you and your guests. Galaxy customers return time and time again because they know they can trust Galaxy to help deliver those lifetime memorable moments. Step aboard and let your Galaxy experience begin. Galaxy Luxury Coach is a full-service limousine and party bus company.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Come on, bomb with the twist. I'm gonna dance with you, baby. Come on, bomb with the twist. Come on, baby, bomb the twist. If you dance with me, I'm to that side. Come on, baby, bomb the twist. Baby, my love is wrong. Come on, bomb with the twist. Come on, come on, come on. Behind the bomb, free bomb. Come on, bomb with the twist. Come on, baby, bomb the twist. You do the best shit, but that.
nearly a decade, Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio has featured interviews with the greatest names in the arts and sports. Heard worldwide at legendsradio.net, the program has featured these great musical legends: Ray Manzarek of The Doors, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Judy Collins, Roberta Flack, and many more. Stars from movies, TV, and comedy have included Jenny McCarthy, Wayne Brady, 30 Rock's Judah Friedlander, Shelley Berman, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, David Allen Greer, and Paul Mooney. Stars of pro wrestling and MMA include Bruno Sammartino, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Superstar Billy Graham, and Frank Shamrock. Co-hosted by renowned journalist Dr. Mike Leno, Legends Radio is heard Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are archived 24/7 with hundreds of hours of classic interviews. Legends Radio also features the best in indie music, showcasing talent deserving wider exposure.
I'm from Brooklyn, baby. Don't forget the gravy.
We are soldiers.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, GMC, in the place to be, the greatest MC in history. There will never be an MC greater than me. And right about now, the only place for you to be is with your one and only Madhouse TV.
You are the man.
We are back with Legends TV with the unique tag team of Yassine and John. You know, where else but Legends TV would you have a pro wrestler and a poet sitting next to each other? It's what we do, and somehow we make it work.
We're rubbing off each other. We're learning.
That's right.
We're learning from both.
There is some similarity. I mean,
Yes.
just in the
Yeah.
comic.
Like I said, recently I've been actually starting to read some stuff. where up until last year I didn't care at all. So
Discipline is universal. I mean, I see people all day, they're posting on Facebook. Half of it is bullshit, and they're posting all
Only
day.
half, I would say.
And they think they're changing the world, and basically they're preaching to the converted, and they're putting out wrong information much at a time. And if you say that is incorrect, then it becomes, how dare you go on my page and criticize me? It's an absolute waste of time.
It's the sad
Waste of time.
part of the internet. I mean, the internet is unreal. That I order stuff, or you could communicate with somebody in Japan, but yet you have these knuckleheads that have platforms, and they don't know what they're talking about.
Here's my theory. Protest, peaceful protest,
course.
organize, boycott, vote,
Well, that's all.
gasp, vote. I went to the polls twice. I didn't see one young person there. Instead of posting memes on Facebook endlessly.
It's the only way
Come
to
on.
really make a difference, is hopefully, there are, as cynical as I have, understand it, elected officials are the only ones that really can make, in the public bring things to elected officials, but if you trust people and the good people get in, maybe differences can be made. It's certainly been that way in the past.
Instead of endlessly venting about quote-unquote oppression, why not get behind a Bernie Sanders, as somebody that would help change the world? And, get involved instead of just spewing venom endlessly. And
Spinning wheels.
one of my resolutions, Yassine, for 2016 is to spend less time on Facebook because my blood pressure skyrockets. It skyrockets.
It's very, very.
I'm gonna
addictive.
die in the chair in front of the computer,
I rarely go on Facebook.
and you're none the worse for it.
It's very, very addicting. In our generation, people, the more friends you have, or the more people that follow you, people think you have more power because more people know you. In essence, yes, because more people are seeing what you're saying. They might not like it, but you think they're, it's rubbing off on them. And most of the times, a lot of the times now, it's become people are posting a lot of negative stuff. Why would you want to influence the world in a negative manner?
I see indie wrestlers critical of WWE, who they want to work for eventually. Doesn't make much sense.
You think that 3 years down the road when you go out for that tryout, they're not going to look at your Facebook, they're not going to look at... Of course they are.
Yeah.
And that's going to kill you from getting the job because what you said 3 years ago. People don't understand that though. Because they think they're above certain things at that time and what they're doing.
Especially if they say something racist or
Racist,
homophobic. This is $1 billion corporation. You can't put that out publicly.
I mean, you
Public
go
is
for a
public,
small little job nowadays to do background checks on you. WWE, they're gonna check everything, your relations, your past, relationships, your history, everything, because they're a worldwide company. They don't want any negativity.
Speaking of racism and xenophobia, my wife's Korean, so I'm very sensitive to the anti-immigrant stuff. You are probably, if you get to WWE or when you get to WWE, they will probably package you as a foreign heel.
Yes.
And you will probably have to say and do things that may be. I'll give you an example. My friend Tiger Khan was Indian background. The family was Indian and Trinidadian, and ECW at the time wanted to bring him in as 7-Eleven Dudley, a stereotypical, talking silly, and he said, I'm not doing it. He says, I'm not going to say or do something that hurts my people. Nikolai Volkov, who's a dear friend of mine, he's Croatian,
Yes.
and they marketed him as an evil Russian, and he didn't want to do it at first, but Blassie said, well, if you're going to play the bad Russian, you're going to make the Russians look bad. So he said, do it.
The reason why I'm kind of stepping away from WWE a little, because it's more of a show. They want you to come on and do those things. Where like a promotion like Ring of Honor, it's more wrestling based. There's less talking. There's more match on match wrestling,
Right.
and it's it's more realistic. Yeah, if you're gonna go on, say I have a Pakistani heritage, and right now there's with the Middle East the problems going on. It's gonna stir stuff.
But that, look.
Why would you want to be the guy that instigates and stirs more stuff and bring negativity?
Right
into the world?
now, they have the League of Nations. Listen to this, John. John's not a big wrestling fan. They have a guy from England, a guy from Ireland, a guy from Bulgaria, and somehow the American audience is supposed to hate these guys like we have heat with these countries. It's so ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
But if they take you and do any kind of anti-Middle Eastern kind of gimmick, you might almost have to do something that's against your ethics.
I know, but that's the reason why I told you I'm kind of stepping away from
Right,
the
right.
WWE part and focusing a little more towards my business goals in the near future. I mean, it's great. Like I love wrestling, where I could even if I want to do it, just on the side, even indie or even smaller promotions, I'll do that because that's something I love. It's not something that that I want to definitely make a big living out of. Thank God I'm
But
not in that position.
Every man, quote unquote, has his price.
Yes.
If you had a big contract in front of you, it would be hard to say no. And once you sign on the dotted line, you pretty much have to do what they ask you to do.
It is true, but if it's gonna hurt my family and it's gonna hurt, my heritage, I probably wouldn't do something like that.
Interesting.
Money is it's only gonna last for so long, but the respect, that's something you're gonna earn for the rest of your life. Say if you get a contract for a couple of years, yeah, you make great money, but you have no respect in the world. What's money gonna do?
My friend Tiger's dream was to go to ECW, and he turned them down because he didn't want to, they said, talk like you're an uneducated guy working at a 7-Eleven. He said, I'm not doing it. I give him nothing but, he's dead now. I give him nothing but respect for that.
In our nature, as human beings, we want to be liked. We want to be appreciated, right? If your TV show or whatever, they're gonna give you money, but to go on, and you're gonna be hated by everyone, but hated by the public. It's very hard to live like that, because a human being, we on the inside, what makes us feel good, and when somebody appreciates us, when somebody likes us, that's we feel good inside with that. But that's where if someone's going to offer you a decent contract, and you're going to get hated on for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
There's a balance you have to.
Well,
make.
the Iron Sheik and Nikolai were two of the most hated guys on the planet, to the point where they had to take an ambulance out of the garden in the middle of the show, and hide in the ambulance.
Yeah.
And they love them now, the fans.
And character actors in Hollywood, like a Jack Palance, who always played the bad guy. I mean, there's
Klaus
always been,
Kinski.
right? I mean, so people have.
Lee Van Cleef.
It's a characterization, so people love it, or they love to hate that character. I mean, there's a. I would think that there's an understanding that
if it's going to lead,
fiction,
because it's worldwide. If it's going to lead to negativity towards certain religion or people, I don't think it's something I would do, because I'm more of a peacemaker. So I don't think I'm not
a man of character.
I'm not a man of. I'm not much of an instigator. It's not something I do. It's not in my nature.
See, I think it would be interesting if they, in reverse, made you the hero, made you the face.
Made you the face.
Why not? It's a huge audience worldwide.
It's a huge. I mean, they can shift it around, but if they're gonna just focus on just getting hate. I don't think it's something I would want to do.
TNA has
certainly is honorable.
has a
how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, TNA has I forget his name. Indian wrestler comes out dancing, and he's a face on TNA.
Yeah. I mean, it actually depends on what the company wants to do. If the company says certain things that were against my ethics, of course I'm going to say no. But if they say
Not everybody does.
not everyone, not everyone does. But if it's a mutual where it's going to be a back and forth build where it won't be too much, where it won't turn into something like a mayhem, because fans are crazy. Even at the indie shows, they'll come at you. They'll say very instigating stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's very hard sometimes to say you're a big, strong 300-pound guy. And
Can't hit a fan. That's it.
I'm just there's a 120-pound skinny guy cursing at you, calling you names right on your face, and sometimes. It's very, very hard to hold back.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just an indie show.
Right.
Think about 20,000 people in an arena saying stuff like that to you. And
you
you be able to hold in your emotions. It's very hard. It's very hard. I don't think I'm at a point where I could do that yet.
In the old days, many of the wrestlers were stabbed. Blassie had acid thrown in his face.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I mean back then the fans took it very seriously. Today not quite as much, but you're still gonna rile some people up. Yeah, it's a rough business. Moolah was stabbed. They stabbed a woman. I mean, for real.
For me, I think about my family a lot. So if I feel like if I do something and my family can become a target for whatever the reason is. I wouldn't want to. If it was just me, I honestly don't care. But my family comes first to me. So if my family becomes a target of some negativity, it's not something I would go towards.
Okay. So
that's a sensible answer.
I have nothing but respect, and I'm sure there have been one or two women wrestlers who said, I don't want to dress like a stripper, I'm an athlete, and they probably quietly disappeared. I don't know this for a fact, but every once in a while people have to stand up for what they believe in, and it's not always the easiest path in that business.
It's not.
A lot of times in that business, if somebody questions the promoter, the push is over.
I mean, if that's your only hope and that's the only way for you to make a living, I guess you get to a point where you have to give in. But if you have other goals and other opportunities in life, I feel like people think a little differently.
And it's interesting you say that. I tell every young person, no matter what your dream is, it's the beginning of the year, we're talking about resolutions, dreams, discipline. Have a plan B, especially if you're an athlete. At some point, the body's going to give out. Have a plan B. We were talking earlier, you're involved in business, and, you can't just say, I'm going to wrestle the rest of my life.
It's a mindset you develop. You have to start thinking realistically. That's what discipline teaches you. That's what wrestling. That's what you do teaches you. It's very sad. Like, I'm going to talk a little bit about boxing right now. Just to give you just a little bit of numbers. Like I told you recently, I've been very into reading a lot about athletes and stuff. Mike Tyson, to give you a little example, he made $350 million
And he pissed it away.
in his fighting
Yeah.
career. Right now, his net value of all his house and whatever he has, his car, is less than $1 million. For making
So is mine.
But I understand.
Yeah.
But the
So
popularity and the
I
money
guess he
he
gave a
made,
lot of that away, and
350.
lawyer fees and
And
instability.
there's another guy in his,
Parasitic entourage.
in his
Right.
era, Evander Holyfield. He made $250 million. His value is less than $500,000 right
Right.
now. From being pretty much, you're making that much, you're on top of the world. You don't have to do anything. You're a king status at that time.
The problem is the 40 friends that are with you every night.
20, 40 friends. It's the lifestyle these guys they get into, and once their career.
John is my parasitic entourage.
Yes,
Yeah,
when
I'm
the career,
joking.
the career is over, they get so depressed and they fall in such a hole in their life they don't know what to do, and they end up passing away.
When you have a tiger in the backyard, you've crossed that line.
You've crossed that line.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be living a lifestyle which you can maintain for the rest of your life. If you're gonna live a lifestyle for 5 years, a great life for 5 years, and after that it's all over, it's very hard to come back to life.
Since it's the beginning of the year, I keep looking in the camera like I'm lecturing. Since it's the beginning of the year, this is very simple, folks. Don't spend more than you make. That's the most basic rule of economics. No matter what you make, you can't spend more than what you make. You can't put it all on a credit card. Interest will kill you. Again, discipline, financial discipline. Look, I tell every young person I know, I used to teach adult education, put aside 15%. Roth IRA, tax-deferred annuity, whatever the case may be, a 401k, whatever opportunity you have at your job, put aside 15% of every check, wherever the money comes from. If you're a waiter, if you're a barber, if you're a hairdresser, if it's cash, 15%. Invest it smart, invest it for a long time. You will be fine. You're going to have that. You're going to have your Social Security, whatever else. Okay, multiple streams of income. Property, of course. People are thinking...
Us humans, we look for freedom, right? Say if we're working a job and we're making great money, and we're great, but
You don't even have to make great money. You can make good money and be smart and end up
exactly.
well.
But if
Yeah.
we're making great money and we're just paying our bills, that's not good. There's no life after that. There's no end path. Our goal. Why do we want to relax, retire one day, and do the things we want? Work very hard and to build that life one day where we earn our freedom to do the things we want.
Exactly.
But if we can have a great job and we could be living a lifestyle where we're barely getting by and not ever get to that point in our life where we're free of that working that 9 to 5 every single day to get by in life.
I have met couples working for the city who did not make a lot of money, made their 30, 40, 50, 60 grand a year, and they were smart from day one with the 401k, the TDA, whatever the case may be. They walked away with $500,000 or so, plus, of course, your pension, your Social Security. You know, you have athletes that make big money that walked away with nothing. With nothing.
Because they fall into that lifestyle where they spend. Say if you have even a contract say making $10 million a year, you fall into a lifestyle.
You
where
spend 11, you're an idiot.
Or
Yeah.
even if you spend that much every single year, what happens when you're 35 years old and blow out your knee and you can't play anymore?
Well,
What
it's
do you do?
become
What do you
more-
do
What
after that?
happens?
More
You don't have a
common.
college degree and now
People-
you don't have a job because you blew out your knee.
Well, you have
What
to
do you do?
both. You have to
Exactly what
appreciate, can't just work for the sake of working. You have to kind of balance it out and also make sure that you're safe and comfortable where you can enjoy yourself. You can't just put in 12, I mean, unless you really have to. Some people, you know, some new immigrants or whatever, you have a family, you have to put in 2, 3 jobs and, you know, maybe get ahead if you're lucky. But if you're not in that situation, you have to be wise about it.
But if you're a family man, and here's where I piss off half my audience. If you're a family man, how about this kind of discipline? Don't have full cable. Get Netflix instead. Save yourself 100, 150, 200 bucks a month. Okay? Don't have every video game that's ever come out. You know, there's
Yeah.
different ways to have discipline.
Have a family plan with phones. You know, if you have 5 people in your family and each person is paying $100 for their phone bill,
Right.
why don't you put that together, pay $200, save $300 there? You know, you're living in the same house anyway.
Yeah, you have 4 phones, 4 cars, full
Yeah.
cable, and then you're like, "Where's my money?" Well, you know,
We're all working hard, but we're barely getting by.
yeah. What's a necessity and what's a luxury? You know, you cross that line. You know,
Well, I know certainly, I mean, well, we had kind of a depression a few years ago. You have to think in terms of not having, living without. I mean, you know, you can't just have everything.
cable TV is a luxury. It's not a
Well, it's true.
necessity.
I agree. You know, you have to be, you know, you can still be a family man and be good to your family and not have everything.
And you can say no to the kids sometimes.
Who has
Yeah, of
everything?
course.
I mean, you have to be very lucky. You know,
How about this? As a former educator, you tell the kid, "I'm not getting you those sneakers until I see a good report card.
Well, there's
I'm
nothing-
not getting you that video game
nothing wrong with
until
that.
I see a good report card."
nothing wrong with that.
You know.
Yeah, but some people never say no. They feel guilty.
Well,
You know, the reward comes from hard work, and you teach a child that with young. at
You're
young age.
teaching a kid
You're
discipline.
teaching the kid discipline. But if you're gonna give the kid everything without him not earning it, you're not teaching him anything. Because one day, you know, you won't be there to provide or to take care of that
Yeah,
child.
what happens the
And
first time someone says no to the
and
kid?
not only
What
that,
happens
they'll
after
bring
that?
that attitude to the school where school is not thought of highly and everything's given. You know, I mean, there has to be a sense of respect for everything. People shouldn't take anything for granted. And that's been a lot of problems, you know, not only in America, I guess all over the world. You know, you can't take anything for granted. You never know.
But,
An
you know,
earthquake could happen, a tidal wave, you know, a bad storm, a fire. You could lose everything.
Hey, people die mid-sentence. No, just joking. This seriously does happen, though. You know, good that you could win the lotto tomorrow. You know, anything could happen.
Don't
good or
take
bad.
anything for granted.
That's right. There's your message for 2016. Don't take anything for granted. Listen, folks, you know, you could soul search, you could analyze from here to tomorrow. It basically comes down to friends, family, pursuing your dream, your creative outlets. What am I missing?
I'd say
Being true to yourself.
Being true to yourself.
there are some, you know, after a certain age, there are some negative people in your life too, and you need to, you know, I guess don't be mean, but eventually take them out of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Where to a
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is hurting you. It could be a friend, it could be an ex-girlfriend, it could be, you
Sure.
know,
They'll suck the life out of
even
you.
a family member.
Oh, yeah.
But you might not realize that at the point, but if it's hurting you and hurting you and hurting you and bringing you down, you have to get rid of those people in your life. I'm not saying it's mean or anything, but if it's bringing you down in a negative way, you should. A lot of people are scared to do that because they think, oh, they might hurt the person. Oh, they don't want to be, taking people out or whatever.
There were people
the
that
people not like me anymore because because like I said, us humans, our nature, we want to be liked by everyone. But you can't be liked by everyone. That doesn't happen.
You
That
should.
is true.
John's a licensed psychologist as well as a poet. Look, you always want to be a good friend. You want to be there for them when they're going through something. But some people will never get it together. They will suck the life out of you, suck the energy out of you, right, John?
It's give and return.
Yeah.
Of course.
If you're gonna be the one there for them, giving it every single time, and you get nothing in return, that person is.
I had a friend. I had a platonic friend. I won't mention names, of course. She's dating a guy for 7 years. 7 years he's cheating on her. He's mistreating her. So you reach a point after the 400th time you say break up with the guy, and she doesn't. You're basically putting the phone behind you while you're doing the dishes. You can't even listen anymore.
That's true.
It's like at some point you have to take control of your own life.
On your own. I mean, we get stuck onto certain people in our lives. Like a family is great and everything, but if it's bringing you down in a negative way and it's never going to work out, that's unhealthy relationship. That's something you got to realize, and you got to step away from that.
My oldest friend, John and I were just having this conversation. My oldest friend is a hopeless workaholic. This guy will call you from the office 1:15 in the morning. How many times can you say you're gonna drop dead? It's gonna kill you. At some point, you either stop saying it or give up the friendship. I mean, this is my oldest friend. I can't give up the friendship. But how many times can you say the same thing? It's
everyone's different. I've seen people who recently they worked very hard their whole lives, but that's what keeps them going. And
nothing wrong with hard work,
and
but you have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to
exactly. There's a balance.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with hard work because if you fall into a certain lifestyle and a certain habit, you need to keep doing that just to keep yourself going. And some people who recently retire and they pass away right away because they lose the sense of their their need of their everyday responsibilities because they think they're worthless.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do now.
Well,
Though it comes back to what I said before. Do what you need to do, but also do what you need to do for yourself. You can't. We all have to put. You have to cover your. You have to have shelter and food and but also have outlets and feed yourself, so to speak. Take care of yourself, or else it'll come a time when you retire or when you stop where you wander around empty, and it should never be. You should fill yourself up with zillion things out there. Read a book, listen to music.
absolutely.
Whatever. Do things for
Do
yourself.
something new.
Build yourself as a person. Don't just be passive.
It's self-love. When we start being dependent on people that don't have the best interest, our best interest. I feel like we don't love ourselves enough, and we don't value ourselves enough where we don't deserve that. Because if you know that I'm worth more than this, I should be getting the 100% from this person, and he's not, or he or she is not giving it to me. You have to realize where I have to step away from the situation. It's not right.
I want you to know you're the world's wisest 24-year-old wrestler.
No,
right, John?
No.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
Anyway, when we come back, we're going to show some very special videos. And John's going to do a set of poetry and whatever else comes about after this very brief timeout.
I think this is a good time to tell you. You're doing okay, Mom. I can call you Mom, right? I know we haven't known each other very long, but you seem like a real keeper. You're not perfect. There was that strained carrots incident, but you're trying. You pick up my bottle every time I toss it out of my stroller. That's high comedy to an 8-month-old. You hum the Barber of Seville when you wash my hair. So cool. And your rub-downs are out of this world. Anyway, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. You know, right? How much I love you. You're doing okay, Mom.
Family owned and operated, we are an industry leader with over 25 years of experience in providing best-in-class luxury transportation for your special event. Whether it's your precious wedding day, an all-day wine tour out east, your high school prom, that special birthday, or just an amazing night on the town, our professional chauffeurs stand ready to ensure your special event is truly special. Galaxy Luxury Coach has one of the largest and modern party bus fleets in the New York area. Our party buses are simply nightclubs on wheels. Concert sound systems, light shows, lasers and strobes, multicolor LED lighting brilliantly lights your party bus inside and out. For corporate and more laid-back events, we will cater to your specific needs and requests. What sets Galaxy aside from all others in the luxury transportation industry is our attention to detail in customizing our services to your special event. At Galaxy, it's all about you and your guests. Galaxy customers return time and time again because they know they can trust Galaxy to help deliver those lifetime memorable moments. Step aboard and let your Galaxy experience begin.
Stop the truck! Stop the truck! Please. Thank you.
For nearly a decade, Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio has featured interviews with the greatest names in the arts and sports. Heard worldwide at legendsradio.net, the program has featured these great musical legends: Ray Manzarek of The Doors, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Judy Collins, Roberta Flack, and many more. Stars from movies, TV, and comedy have included Jenny McCarthy, Wayne Brady, 30 Rock's Judah Friedlander, Shelley Berman, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, David Allen Greer, and Paul Mooney. Stars of pro wrestling and MMA include Bruno Sammartino, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Superstar Billy Graham, and Frank Shamrock. Co-hosted by renowned journalist Dr. Mike Lano, Legends Radio is heard Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are archived 24/7 with hundreds of hours of classic interviews. Legends Radio also features the best in indie music, showcasing talent deserving wider exposure.
I'm from Brooklyn, baby. Don't forget the gravy.
We are soldiers!
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio.
Dad, where do babies come from?
Well, there's Dad's big, shiny rocket ship. That's right, it's filled with babies of all kinds. And when the shiny rocket ship penetrates, Mommy and Dad goes, and when the time is just right, there's a space launch.
All systems go.
Babies of all kinds. Released all over the place. Yeah, Africa. Mommy's Babylandia. That's right, it's filled with babies. After an amazing 9 months, babies. And that, son, is where babies come from.
But Jake said babies come from
Planet Babylandia.
Play with us on the bus.
Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
Wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town.
Dad, where do babies come from?
Oh. Well, there's Dad's big, shiny rocket ship. That's right, it's filled with babies.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, GMC, in the place to be, the greatest MC in history. There will never be an MC greater than me. And right about now, the only place for you to be is with your one and only Madhouse TV.
You are the man.